What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to get into the New York Jets meeting with two different offensive linemen over the last couple of days, as well as some slow motion video of Aaron Rodgers throwing. Yes, I cannot wait to talk about all that. So let's get into it with the two guys the Jets met with. First was J.C. Latham out of Alabama. Now, he is a very polarizing prospect. It feels like people either love J.C. Latham or they can't stand J.C. Latham as a prospect. The can't stand, I think, is a little unfair, but there are some things about his game that concern me. One of those things is not the Michigan game, which is something that I think way too many people pull up and isolate just one play. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, on the final play of the game, J.C. Latham got beat, which led to a stop from the Michigan defense. And anytime you talk about J.C. Latham, you'll get comments that say, turn on the Michigan game, he can't play. And I think it's really hard to define someone's career by just that one play and ignore the rest of what he did during the season. And while I think that there's a chance that he could be a good player at the next level, the reason why he's so polarizing is because of his size. At 6'6", he's 342 pounds. He's insanely fast, though, 4.85 speed at his size, which is just absolutely insane. He is a physical freak and an absolute specimen. These sound like things that we said about Mekhi Becton just 4 years ago, and maybe that's unfair because every single prospect is different. But after the Jets got burned the last time in 2020 that they took a very high variance player in Mekhi Becton, who is a boom or bust guy, I don't know if the Jets are the team that could afford to take that risk again. And if Joe Douglas is the GM who could afford to take that risk again. That's not to say that, Latham is for sure going to come into the league and bust just like Mekhi Becton. And that's not to guarantee that he's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. He has a lot of intriguing physical traits about his game, and there are some really nice moments for him on tape, but there are just some flat out red flags. And as I mentioned, the size, Alabama offensive linemen struggling, and sure, every prospect is different, but a lot of times people feel as if that the Alabama offensive linemen kind of get maxed out where they are at college because of how close to the NFL their program was. And then they can't take the next step to the next level, it seems like. Evan Neal's a good example of that. Alex Leatherwood's another example when the Raiders took him a couple of years ago. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And again, scout the player. Don't just scout the helmet and the school, but there's some things that are making me nervous, at least, about J.C. Latham as a prospect. And I would have him as my fifth tackle anyway, behind, someone else who the New York Jets met with in Troy Fautanu. So Fautanu is there with the New York Jets today after Brock Bowers was with the Jets earlier in the week. And why do I keep bringing up Troy Fautanu, and why do Jet fans in general who want to go offensive line bring him up, is because his versatility. He played left tackle at Washington last season, and he played it really well. His arm length measured in longer than most people anticipated, so that projects him as a tackle at the next level. But he can play guard too, so that gives you someone who can play 4 different spots on the offensive line, which may come in handy because the Jets have multiple people who are injury risks going into this year. Tyron Smith at left tackle is an injury risk because he hasn't played a full season since 2015. You also had Morgan Moses, who's coming off of surgery, normally an Iron Man, but had a torn pectoral that he played through last year, is now 33 years old and had surgery. And for as much as we love Elijah Vera Tucker, love the guy, he's gotten hurt each of the last 2 years and had season-ending injuries in 2022 and 23. So having someone who can come in and play any of those spots is super important to a team that is going to need more than 5 offensive linemen. And honestly, it's something I said as well in the past. Fautanu, I think, could give John Simpson a run for his money on the starting offensive line. Or maybe he even gives the Morgan Moses a run for his money. And then suddenly you have either Morgan Moses or John Simpson coming off the bench for you, which just adds so much more depth to the offensive line unit. Damian Woody talked about Brock Bowers today on Twitter as a luxury pick, and started churning up again. I don't know if you saw on either whatever, pick your favorite social media platform. Hell, even here on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it, but Jet fans are debating about Brock Bowers versus the offensive line. It's a new thing. I know you may have missed it, but there's a group that really wants the Jets to go with a weapon like Brock Bowers, and then there's a group that really wants the Jets to go with an offensive lineman. And while there are some in the middlemen who go, hey, you can make a strong case for either side, I might lean offensive line or I might lean Brock Bowers, but I could see why the Jets or you, the person, could see that. But unfortunately, most of the offensive line people are dead set on offensive line and they can't see a possible way for a weapon. And then the Bauer boys are sometimes over the top and can't see the case be made for an offensive lineman. It's all a little bit much. And while I enjoy talking about the NFL draft, and the 3-day draft stream is my favorite that we do, I'm kind of ready for it to be over. And last but certainly not least, just wanted to talk briefly on the slow-mo videos. Aaron Rodgers out there today throwing the passes to both Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. I get it. They're in shorts. It's way, 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 way early in the offseason programs. Haven't even gotten to training camp. Haven't put pads on. It's sweatshirts and shorts. I get all of those things. But because we were robbed of seeing Aaron Rodgers for the Jets last year, you only got 4 plays of it. It was such a tease because we saw these videos from like April through August into early September. And we were looking forward to watching this guy play and never really got that chance. It was taken away immediately. So I am ready to get hurt again, man. I'm putting my emotions on the line. I am buying into this football team. Last year it crashed and burned. I'm ready for anything. Give it to me. I'm not going to go in and just be numb to it. I am ready to get hurt again. Please stay healthy, Aaron Rodgers. Let me know your thoughts on both of these topics down below in the comments. I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe here if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.